Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Alex Armani show. Watching Formula 1. Live on Sky. We're qualified out. Got a bit of a sweepstake. Well, that's not good. 4 of us, we all pick 5 drivers.
Who doesn't lock a brake, who doesn't run
draw cars who goes first and that. I've got Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Rosberg,
subtle thing like that today, but
I've got Massa, he's good actually, Massa, and Nico Hulkenberg, he's good, he won Le Mans racing a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, this is
powered car on pole position in this hybrid era.
What
is surprising me is A, we've got no Toro Rossos in the top 10. And B, Williams, Sainz did creep in, didn't he, in the end? And B, that Williams look like they're really threatening the Ferrari, don't they?
They certainly do. The 61st anniversary today of Mercedes Formula 1 debut at the 1954 Prix.
So they
finished 1 and 2 to celebrate that anniversary. Looks at the moment like they'll be starting tomorrow at Silverstone 1 and 2, but we thought that this time last year, Ted Kravitz, and then it all happened in the final part of qualifying. Well, a bit of confusion. Gust of wind today, not a drop of rain, and something could not go wrong.
You never know what's going to happen. 9 minutes and 56 seconds.
Let's recognise Danny Kvyat for his efforts in Q2. Brent Lap leading Ricciardo and showing the way for Red Bull. And also for Nico Hulkenberg, I think he was 6th wasn't he, in Q2. So well done Hulkenberg, but I'm afraid to say that Hulkenberg has the only one who's used 3 sets of his medium compound tyres. So imagine roughly, they'll do maybe one run now on used tyres, maybe another one at the end on the sole remaining piece.
The new set dash you get for being part of Q3.
Hamilton.
A bit of parish notice his protest
He's
on the lap pass, so he's not even interested.
Too aggressive.
But the stewards
There's a modulated accelerator. When you go on the corner, it's full on braking, modulated braking, and when it's raining, it changes from limits like Jameson.
Being able to told an advantage to be gained in doing it.
Reported, they were Johnson wasn't allowed to do the fact that they modulates the throttle. It means he's not going to qualify. It's only going to be scout shit. I don't know. They're giving us working on next year. This is a book, they're getting a lot of money on that. Like a red art, dickhead. It was like, what the fuck? You've got Alonso, he's best driver of all.
Australians have been relatively well behaved through that final corner, but some have been taking liberties.
Jensen Button leaving.
It's been on cops.
I'm over here. And when he leaves, he's going to think, fuck it, be a test driver. And when I'm in charge, he's the same as a woman driver. She got the wrong car. She was the racing center. And the race driver, they're only allowed to use the woman driver's car if they smash them up and they have to start back. And he goes, I've got a woman who's in a car up here. So he saves a woman driver.
But remember what happened in Austria when Lewis had to have a really slow.
You give a shit car to the woman. Well, if the race driver crashes in qualifying, you can't lose the woman's car. Hopefully you're going to give the car the best car.
Hitting the brake pedal as he goes into Abbey at 70 miles an hour or so.
Mercedes.
Turns the wheel, leans on it, and keeps that car nice and steady. This is where he locks up.
I reckon this is comparing, that means he's got the first 6 to 1.
To Village and into the lead this
time
around.
Bottas has got pink in section 1. That means he's at the fastest time of all. Green means that person's Bottas has got his first, he's got green in section 1. Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Hamilton's got pink, purple, section 1. Raikkonen's got, Ricciardo's got purple in section 2. Hamilton's got green in section 3.
The old pit straight.
So Raikkonen's got purple in section 2. Rosberg's got purple in section 1.
200 miles an hour, you flick it in, because you know it's always going to be there, and it is as long as you don't run wide.
Bottas got purple in section 2.
190 in, 150 through the middle.
Ricciardo, purple in section 1. Rosberg, purple section 1. Hamilton, purple section 2.
And opens the wheel up onto that hanging
Purple
straight.
is the fastest one of all of them.
Kimi Raikkonen fighting the back of the
Last time
car.
it's purple, if you want 2 or 3 on the lap. Raikkonen's got purple, Raikkonen passes, then Ricciardo.
Well into the 1 minute 32.
Rosberg has gone quickest through the first section.
Hulkenberg, 4, good lad.
And Valtteri Bottas crossed the line.
Ricciardo, 4, Raikkonen's third. Bottas, 4, Hamilton, third. Good lad, purple, second,
Hamilton, provisional pole.
Come on, Alex.
10 to the second, but look,
Yeah.
wrestling away. And like a man trying to tame a flying bear, Nico Rosberg out of stone into the final chicane. As I said,
Go on, Nico.
Sector, look a little bit of time in the middle part of the track.
Nico, purple, second one.
Oh, no, he can't. By a 10th of a second, Rosberg has to play second fiddle to his teammate this time around. It's Hamilton.
Right, so the ball on the go. Matthew's not done it
after
one
the
yet.
first flying laps, and the
There he
British
is.
driver on top.
They all get 2 goals basically.
In the middle sector of the lap. Didn't see
Well,
too
you have 2
many
goals, then
either of them
the
there.
tyres
They
and
don't
that
hit the
on
spots,
ours go.
and you wonder where they're going to find time from.
They're all going to have another go, of course they
The
are.
Mercedes drivers.
And
Bottas
also
gone
Valtteri
4.
Bottas as well.
That's the 1 goal. Alright, I'm second.
Bottas has
4,
qualified
5,
through.
and 9, and 10.
But not only is he ahead of the Brazilians, Williams also ahead of the 2 Ferraris, of Raikkonen and of Vettel here.
And Raikkonen, the fastest Ferrari driver too.
Fiat ahead of Sainz, Ricciardo ahead of Hulkenberg, all to play for here. Interesting, on a gusty day here, a Williams car that has been sensitive to wind in the past seems to be a lot more stable, just on that first run than the 2 Ferraris. So 2 by 2 by 2.
I think Ferrari not on the second, at least one on the second row. They're going to be mightily disappointed there.
If it stays that way, Williams, their home Grand Prix at the track where they had their first F1 win, Ray Regazzoni in 79, their 100th F1 win, which I didn't know here in 97, they're going to feel like a bit of a moral victory for them. Start ahead to Ferrari, but there's one more flying run to come here, and still I would say a long way to go.
Some teams like to put the cars on those on a little T-tray, the dolly wheels. It's the quickest way to spin it around and get it in the garage. It looks the most efficient way to me. Others like to push the car back in. Ted?
Quick one, Nico Rosberg was offered the chance to change his balance a little bit. They said, do you want a little more or less front wing? But Nico said, no, I'm happy with it. So, no change. Lewis Hamilton just giving his feedback on the radio now, just talking about the tyre temperatures and saying the car was moving around a little bit in the wind as well.
Not surprising, really. I think everyone has found that throughout this weekend here at Silverstone. So Nico Rosberg, 30 last Saturday, all the momentum going into this race, having won 3 of the last 4 races, knowing that he could have had pole as well, and he not made that error in qualifying at the last corner. Well, has it all to do this afternoon to try and find an extra 10th of a second ahead of his teammate.
Sounds old all of a sudden, doesn't it? Turning 30 as a Formula 1 driver. New set of Pirellis, and Bottas there with good track position ahead of the Red Bull and the Force India of Hulkenberg. Long run out of the pits, straight into turn 2 effectively.
Hulkenberg's gone out, Ricciardo's out, Raikkonen's on track, Bottas on track.
Maybe on Ferrari a little
I've got on the live timing, a white, the driver's number is either white or red, white went round a bit. So I'm about 5 seconds out this time. Obviously it's F1.com. 2 minutes, 25, 3 seconds ahead. There's a Skyboy, it's not like it's 3 seconds behind!
This is Hamilton going towards...
I'll spoil it for you all.
His last lap.
They're all on track, everyone is on track, 10 drivers on track.
Yeah, it's reasonably unloaded by that point. It's the right front taking all the load, but those tyres will be probably, might need them in the race, but possibly discarded anyway. Seems a bit crazy, isn't it? Getting 5 or 10 miles out of a set of tyres.
And when you don't need them ever again.
That's why we're limited to how many they're allowed to use through a weekend, and they go into qualifying with 6 sets of tyres, 3 of each compound. If they get through to the top 10, they get another set, so they're throwing plenty of tyres at them anyway, but there has to be some kind of cap.
Well, they talk about freedom of choice for tyre compounds in the future. The one man at Pirelli said, well, they have to give us a month's notice on that one. So they think we're bringing 4 compounds for each team for every race. That's a lot of tyres to cart around the world.
It's a lot of tyres to manufacture and then get off to Singapore or Japan or China or whatever.
Absolutely. Right. No tyres. Let's talk about qualifying. Minute to go here before the checkered flag at a packed out Silverstone. Will it be Lewis Hamilton on pole? Will it be his teammate Nico Rosberg? Mercedes chasing a third consecutive Silverstone pole. 10th of a second between their two drivers. Williams ahead of Ferrari here. What can Bottas or Massa do to try and propel their car?
On green, takes first back to one.
Already locking up there, going into village. Now to the loop, and beyond that, Aintree, of course, one of the venues that has hosted the British Grand Prix in the past.
Ricciardo from green, takes the one.
Out of there, carry the speed through along this long piece of straight tarmac. And he's a couple of tenths down, but only a couple of tenths down to that first sector.
As the downforce compresses the car and the tyres squash a little bit, you see the under tray just making contact with the ground. Hello, we've got some people being held up here. Sebastian Vettel and they're making their way on the outlap.
Massa's gone green, takes the one. Ricciardo and Hulkenberg goes green, sector 2.
Right now, flying. I mean, that was a little bit earlier before they started their flight.
Hamilton's first sector, 2 tenths down and 2 tenths slower than Rosberg, but it's not a personal best. So Rosberg put himself into play here.
The track temperature just getting a little bit warmer as well, and I mentioned in practice yesterday when the temperature got above 40 degrees, that didn't necessarily mean that the track started to get faster as well. Keep an eye on that.
Ricciardo green, sector 3, but
Hamilton.
And that's it, who's still on the track? All the drivers still on the track.
Over on this lap, Hamilton's over. So what will Rosberg do for a middle sector? We're looking for something under
Go on, Nico. Rosberg and Hulkenberg.
We're coming through that point relatively
Hulkenberg's
soon.
finished, Ricciardo's finished, Bottas is finished.
No, it's 4 tenths down for Rosberg. Talking
Go on, Nico Rosberg.
Ricardo's gone off the track at Copse.
Go on, Ricciardo.
On his way, but it looks like his lap time is going to get deleted. That'll be Lewis Hamilton then coming in to the pit.
Go on, Kimi.
Rosberg really has to keep it. Has no option but to do that, but his time is down. Felipe Massa.
Good luck.
His teammate Valtteri Bottas and Williams sticking.
Kimi out-qualifies Vettel.
He is the fastest for the second time in 3 years.
No good.
Pole for the British Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz goes so wide he almost ends up in the ground.
Hamilton, Rosberg, Massa, Bottas, Raikkonen, Vettel, Prix, Sainz, Hulkenberg and Ricciardo. My guys are 10.
And it is that man for the 8th time
second,
in 2015 who will rise out of his car. And the crowd will rise with him. Lewis Hamilton's on pole here at Silverstone.
Star of that little section of qualifying was Felipe Massa, the only man to go out there and find some time to get third on the grid, and Raikkonen ahead of Vettel on that grid, but Williams lock out the second row, as do Mercedes, of course, the front row. But they both had a reasonably unspectacular lap, didn't they?
Just wonder, we saw it yesterday afternoon, Martin. Once the track temperature hits around about 41, 42 degrees, then the lap times stop improving. Something happens. The interaction between the tyres and the tarmac, and the improvement just doesn't come. And that's what we got in that qualifying session there. Rosberg was giving it his all, but without the pace really to do it. Massa, as you say, did find some pace and leapfrogs his teammate. Massa 6-3 up on Bottas now this season, and even allowing for the bounce back he got in Q2 in Australia. It's disappointing for Valtteri Bottas. Raikkonen out qualifies Sebastian Vettel for his 2nd time this season.
Okay, so P2. Go straight, really strange, no grip on the left front. Really strange.
And Ricardo then had his time deleted. Sorry if you've already said that, Croft. He had his time deleted right at the end.
Come, but
Yeah, so he slipped back with no time then down into 10th place.
He starts 10th, that's very costly for him, behind Hulkenberg, behind Sainz, who was like riding a rodeo at the end.
He hit the curve on the inside, didn't he?
Fourth time in 5 races that Fiat has out-qualified Daniel Ricciardo. Ever since Helmut Marko mentioned that the young Russian might like to buck his ideas up a bit, he's bucked his ideas up a little bit, hasn't he? And as I say, right now out-qualifying Sebastian Vettel as well.
Although, actually, if Ricciardo hadn't have lost that time, he would have been slightly ahead of Kvyat. His 1 minute 33.5, and Ted has found Niki Lauda.
Nicky, they said nothing to worry about on the pit wall. Conditions were difficult though, a lot of wind. A lot of wind, and the end was slower for everybody, so nobody could improve. But what can be better here? Lewis on pole position in England with a Mercedes. No more to say. Well, tomorrow, there's always tomorrow, but at least you'll have a happy Lewis Hamilton on your hands. This is the most important, for me at least. No, you mean. Thank you, Nicky.
So there's more racing on that one then, Ted. For Williams, by the way, it's the first time since 2002 that both of their cars have been in the top 4 on the grid for a British Grand Prix.
Pulled that one out of the bag a bit, didn't they? Because they've been struggling to find the pace. But they've humbled Ferrari there.
I mentioned it yesterday. They were 14th and 15th in FP2 in Austria, both qualified in the top 6. Don't write Williams off on a Friday. They take out the program that very much concentrates on the race, and then go into qualifying on Saturday, and then turn the engine up, and well, bang, there they are. Sometimes where they want to be.
Sebastian Vettel's been saying on the radio his preparation lap wasn't right because he got held up by Massa.
Massa's life isn't beautiful.
Certainly, Massa was ahead of Vettel. We saw Rosberg to the left-hand side.
Just going over it slow. Alex, he's got Alex in his ball on the same day as me. That's the mark.
Young Filippo Jr. there predicted live on
the
the F1 show
last year.
his dad
I was born on the first man. Obviously my cat was born on the first man. I know.
He might be halfway there. Hamilton from Rosberg, Mercedes locking out the front row.
It's 16 months.
The 5th time in succession. Then 2 Williams, Max
Obviously,
for Bottas, then the 2 Ferraris, and for Vettel. Qualifies Daniel Ricciardo for the 3rd race in a row. Carlos Sainz will start 8th ahead of Nico Hulkenberg in the Force India. Hulkenberg continuing his good form, gaining 3rd consecutive race. His teammate Sergio Perez just missed out. Romain Grosjean to Verstappen, struggling for grip, so every corner was different this afternoon than it was this morning. Marcus Ericsson out qualified his teammate Felipe Nasser for McLaren. More disappointment. Both McLarens out in the first part of qualifying, and Will Stevens back ahead of his teammates at
Marcus Ericsson. I support Romain Grosjean. I support Max Verstappen. I support Nico Hulkenberg. I support Kimi Räikkönen. I support
what the crowd wanted to see here. You have
Nico
to say.
Rosberg. Who else is there? Felipe
The cheers went up when they found out that Lewis Hamilton had taken pole. Despite aborting that final lap, he got the job done. It's 8-1 in the pole count, in the Brits' favour, over his teammate Nico Rosberg. Well done to him. The crowd, as I say, very pleased with the outcome and lots to look forward to ahead of the race, and lights out.
Who was the pole? Who do I bet on? Bet on the ones that want to get him in the worst money. There's no point in betting on Hamilton 2 to 3. Like every pound you put back you get on 30 man. That's something like that. You can go to the pub.
They're very quiet.
As a racing driver, you can't wait to get in the car. Shut your eyes and get away from all of the questions.
Jenson Button, we salute you.
We want it to be.
Porsche was barely hanging on to his leg by his skin.
It wasn't about walking, or it wasn't about the rest of my sort of normal life. It was only about racing. Everything I'd done up until that point was all about racing, and the dream of Formula One was still there.
And I've never seen that before. The second and third man lifting the winners.
plenty for us to look forward to. We're also simulcasting on Sky Sports 1 for the duration. We're on air on Sky Sports 1 and Sky Sports F1 from 11:30. Then we live from the pit lane from 12, the race show from past, lights out at 1, and all the reaction as always in Paddock Live from 3:30. Now, loads of other sports coming your way as well this Saturday on Sky Sports.
And
Ran for the rest of the summer. It's Leicestershire against Birmingham. That's